Hello and welcome to a Remnant 2 build video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my Fae-inspired mod build. This thing has a pretty good emphasis on building up and generating a lot of mod power, having some increased mod damage, and then my particular choice in weapons and stuff has a great emphasis on the synergy between the equipment I have and the boss weapons that I've gotten from Faelin and Faerin. Like any of my build videos, I'm going to go through the loadout, going to try and keep it pretty short, sweet, and simple, get to the points real quick, and then show you guys some gameplay of like what it can kind of do and give you an idea of what you can try out as well. And as always, just given how Remnant 2 is and what you may or may not find, there may be some pieces of the equipment or gear, whatever, that you don't have that I'm using, or maybe even pieces that you have that I don't have and will work better. Feel free to swap things around, fill in whatever you're missing with things that you have that kind of fulfill the same purpose, or replace it with things that you have that actually work better than what I have going on. As always, what I'm showing you is not the end-all be-all. This is just kind of something I find fun and maybe you guys will enjoy as well. We are also playing on Nightmare difficulty. That's just kind of where I have the most fun right now. It has enough freedom for me to try different builds that I find entertaining while still being challenging. I can't just run in there, do crazy mistakes and things. So for me, it's a good balance right now, but in the future, you can expect me to start moving into Apocalypse. I just am having fun where I'm at right now. So getting right to it, this build is focused primarily on the equipment and less on the archetypes or the traits that I've chosen. So those pieces are the One True King Sigil, Faelin Sigil, and Faerin Sigil. And then the two main weapons that I'm using are the Deceit and Godsplitter. So One True King Sigil. This amulet is going to increase our mod damage by 20% and then enhance the effects of Faelin and Faerin Sigils by 50% for each one that we have equipped. Since we have both of them equipped, it's going to increase their effects by 100%. This combination is the whole thing that inspired me for the build. It's a lot of fun. If you want this amulet, you have to go talk to Nemue after you've gathered both of the rings from Faelin and Faerin. You will then take those rings and craft the amulet, but it does consume the rings. So if you want to also use them, you have to go back and beat the bosses again. Faelin Sigil, this one is going to have our melee attacks generate 20% more mod power, which turns into 40%. You're going to see how well this works because we generate a lot of mod power, and we do use our sword a somewhat fair amount. And then we've got Faerin Sigil. This has our critical and weak spot hits generating another 20% additional mod power, becomes 40%. This overall combination, these two effects and then them getting amplified by the amulet synergize really well with our melee weapon, which is the Godsplitter. Godsplitter has a unique effect in that when you hit people with a charge attack, it taints their blood, and then all of your hits are going to register as weak spot hits, all your melee attacks. So with Faelin's ring giving us more melee mod power generation, and then Faerin's giving us more of the weak spot power generation, this thing is going to fulfill both of those things in one thing. So it's going to generate a lot of mod power for us. Now, in addition to that, the mutator I have on there is the Reinvigorate plus 10. It's going to reduce the stamina cost of all our charged melee attacks by 50% because we need to do charge attacks in order to activate its special ability. And then at level 10, those charge attacks are going to be even stronger. It's pretty nice. Quick thing to say about the Godsplitter. I like the weapon. It is not super amazing though. Outside of this specific combination that I'm doing here, I don't know that I would use it because its damage is pretty low. Even with the extra weak spot damage, it just barely covers going into what another weapon will do. For example, this thing does 106.4 damage with a 2% crit chance, plus 50 weak spot modifier, minus 20 stagger. And then if you compare it to the Ornate Blade, this thing does 150, better crit hit chance, weak spot damage, stagger modifier. It completely outclasses it. And so really the only reason I want to use this is because I can get some great synergy with it and the rings. If you're not going to do that, then I don't think I would use this weapon. It's okay. It's just kind of mediocre. And then we've got the gun, Deceit. This one's really interesting. It's very unique. So it shoots 2 shots at once. It's a very long-range type rifle. It only has 6 rounds in the magazine, but it does quite a lot of damage. And both of the shots can individually crit, so you can sometimes get some huge damage on a single shot. And it is also very accurate, pinpoint accuracy. And the unique thing about it is that you can't get weak shots with it. It's similar to the sword. So when you use its mod power, it does Ouroboros, conjures 3 sword fragments that are going to circle around you, and then when you do melee attacks, it shoots them out at enemies. And anytime you hit them with those sword fragments, they become tainted, so now your shots are going to actually do weak spot damage. And you can also do a charge attack to shoot all of them at once, and it actually does quite a bit of damage. So it's a really fun combination. I am able to do some great single target damage with the thing. And in addition to that, because we can get some consistent weak spot shots on enemies, especially enemies that have a little bit of a harder time hitting the weak spots, you can charge its own mod power very quickly with the Faerin Sigil, giving you that extra mod power. So again, these things synergize very well together. And another unique aspect is the taint effect from this thing's mod ability and the charge attack on this one. They actually trigger for both of the things. So if we hit them with the sword's charge attack, that'll actually allow us to get weak spot shots with the gun. It's just a little unwieldy. I'm curious to see if it would work between multiple players, but I haven't actually tested it out with my friends yet. Once you get past that, frankly, you can kind of just use whatever you want. The 2 rings I'm using is not actually the white pawn stamp, but that one is a good one to use. It reduces your mod power requirement by 10%. The actual ring you're going to see me use in the gameplay is the Stone of Malevolence, and this is going to have our elemental damage generate 15% additional mod power. That's because our handgun has some elemental damage effects that we're using, so it's going to generate a lot of extra mod power. The other ring I'm using is a Cataloger's Jewel. This thing is going to generate 8 mod power per second. It's pretty sweet. Overall, it generates us a lot of mod power throughout a fight, and then outside of a fight, it allows us to top back off and be ready to activate mod abilities before we are actually into the fight. Really nice. It helps to round out the build. But like I said, neither one of these are super necessary. You could absolutely swap them out for something else, whether you want it to be less mod power requirements, more mod damage, or something that is just going to fit you a little bit better. My handgun, I'm using the double barrel. That's because I got it from Lawsome. Everything I'm doing here is supposed to be Fae and Lawsome inspired, which is not the most optimal choice. I understand that. I think you guys can understand that as well. I'm just doing it for the flavor, so you can absolutely swap out things for whatever happens to work better. But this double barrel gun is pretty good. I really like it. It kind of rounds out with the long gun because that one is very long range. This one does pretty good short range. And then there are 2 different mods that I'm going to be using in the gameplay. I've got Witchfire right now, which shoots out a little projectile bomb, and then it's going to do a big line of fire, does a lot of damage over time, and then catches them on fire, dealing more damage. It also has 2 charges to it, so you can lay out 2 lines of fire or just have a second one ready to go in case you need to. And with that Stone of Malevolence, it's going to charge itself up so quickly that we can be constantly shooting out lines of fire. It's really fun. It's really good. The other ability I'm going to be using on it is Firestorm. So you create a big whirling cyclone of fire. The thing will suck in enemies, deal damage, and catch them on fire. It's really good. It has more of a mod power requirement than the Witchfire, but ultimately we generate so much, it's generally not a big issue. This thing is great. It can seriously lock down an area. It can really disrupt and mess up the enemies, mess up the bosses. The bad thing about it is it does a ton of friendly fire damage. I have messed myself up really badly many times before because of accidentally walking into it or just getting pushed into it because of aggressive enemies. So you got to watch out for that. And while I haven't tried it with my friends, I really imagine that it has a lot of friendly fire potential. And then the mutator I'm using on the double barrel, it's a harmonizer, increases mod damage by 20%, and then at level 10 it's giving us another 25% additional mod power generation for the stowed weapon. The armor set I'm using is the Fae Royal Armor. It's just the one I wanted to use because, again, Fae inspired, but use whatever you want. I'm using the Void Heart Relic. That thing has been doing me pretty well. I'm just enjoying using it. Pick what you want. The runes I have in there reduce the melee charge attack because we're using melee charge attacks a fair amount. Increased range damage and increased weak spot damage because we get some of those guaranteed weak spot shots, and I'm doing a pretty fair amount of range damage. It would also make sense to do something revolving around your mods. As for the archetypes, I'm running the Hunter one as my primary and Explorer as a secondary. There's not a real particular reason. It's not because they synergize particularly well with the setup. It's just because they're the ones I'm having the most fun with. Though I will say this Hunter's Mark can do some really great things when you combine it with the Ouroboros effect and guaranteed weak shots on our long gun. You'll be able to see it in the boss fight. We're gonna have a skill. We're gonna have the skill just sit up for almost the entire fight. It's really good. And I do understand that there's the Archon archetype. I know that's supposed to be revolved around doing mod power stuff. I haven't taken the time to unlock it, so obviously I'm not going to use it. If you have it, I think I would probably recommend you use that, since this build is supposed to be about mod power. As for the traits, there's nothing really specific I would say you should take. None of them super enhance what we're doing. You could double down on the mod power regeneration, but frankly, I feel like we've got more than enough as is. So instead, I opted to try and take a bunch of defensive abilities like Fortify, more Vigor, Bark Skin, Shade Skin, all the things to raise my resistances, just so I can try and avoid getting one shot as much as possible, because that just kind of sucks and feels bad. So that's my recommendation. Work with whatever does best for you. If you want to see how many points I have on each of them, you can see it on the right side of the screen right now, or just in the center piece. Now, before we actually go into the gameplay, I want to give a quick controlled demonstration of just how much mod power we can actually generate. Now, keep in mind these are against dummies, and so the situation here is a little more picture perfect than you would actually get in real scenarios, but it'll give you an idea. So right now, our Witchfire is not fully charged, but you can see it's slowly ticking up, and it's up fairly quickly. In between fights, this is going to be pretty nice. But watch how quickly it charges up when we start doing our melee attacks with the sword. So we start off with one, goes up pretty good. We get a charge attack followed by another charge attack, and immediately we're almost at the full 2 charges. All right, now let's go ahead and do the mod power. We're going to cut across here, hit 2 or 3 of these things, and you can watch just how quickly the mod actually charges itself up with that elemental damage. Just like this, pump. There's the line of damage hitting 3 things, and look how quickly it's just charging up. Let's shoot out a second one, ready for a third, and we get out that fourth. Now, obviously, this is way more of a controlled scenario than the real thing, but that's kind of the idea that you're going to see happen throughout the fights. And then as for the long gun, here's the effect that it actually does. When you activate the blades, it's going to go around you like this. It's pretty neat too, because when you get close to enemies, it actually spins around, and that'll actually count to corrupt their blood as well. And you can see we did a melee attack, it shoots the sword out, and our sword attack did weak point damage. Now, when you do the charge attack, it actually pierces a bunch of guys, does some good damage, and then we'll show you how much damage it can do. Goes across like that, and then look at that weak point things, and look how quickly it's actually charging itself up. So, bad thing was the effect didn't last very long there, but on the boss fights, you're going to see how often we can quickly just pull out the ability again and again. And with our mark like this, it's going to help generate things very quickly. So we go it out, throw these out across there, does a good chunk of damage, and look how quickly it's charged up. It's ready to go, activating again, throw them back out there, doing 1200 damage in a big line, and then we just chunk them up. Very good. I'm a big fan. One last thing I would kind of note about it too, when you activate the Deceit's ability, it does seem to reload the gun. So I have on the Bandit Mutator so that our shots are automatically going back into the magazine. That's because it only has 6 shots in the magazine, and it feels bad when you run out of shots to use and then you're losing opportunities to do extra weak point damage. So that's why I have this Mutator on. Use whatever works best, like always. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and get into the gameplay, show you guys how it works, and yeah. Alright, so we're in Tiller's Rest. This is going to be an interesting one. There's going to be some good spots where we can show off some of the ranged ability of the long gun, as well as some of that, how well we can shut down zones using our different mods on the handgun. It'll definitely be interesting because there's going to be lots of waves of enemies, and seeing how we deal with that when we got lots of guys in our face. That's when I find this build is actually the weakest, because we don't have a lot of true stand your ground power. We really rely on maneuvering around, putting some good distance and positioning between us and the enemy. So we'll see how it works out for us. Into your face. I wish you could keep those effects, you could somehow keep little wingy glowy effects. Alright, so we go to long gun, and this thing's going to do great range damage, especially against some of these Dran who are just kind of hanging out from a distance. I did not want to go down in the water. And we'll keep moving. So here they come. Let's see where they're at. Dodging the fire a little bit. Still got clipped some, which kind of sucks. If I could stop falling off the edge, that would be really great. Alright, bang, bang. Some rats. Hate those little bloat things. Just like that, dude. Get him with the sword. A choice you can do if you're doing a lot of melee damage. Like, I actually have more emphasis on doing ranged damage, I would say. You could swap some of your rings to do some increased melee damage so that you're really capitalizing on it. Plus, that increased melee damage to your Godsplitter, when it does its weak spot damage, will then equate a bigger damage number. Here we go. From a distance, 1. Oops. 2. Easy enough. It is a little frustrating that you can't get weak spot shots with that gun, but it does do quite a lot of damage, so I think overall it works out pretty well. Here come some more guys. We're going with the sword again because they're charging us. Good solid damage, nothing too high. It is a complaint with this sword. Its base damage is really low, so depending on what you're doing, like if you don't really want to lean into using both the Deceit and the Godsplitter, I would not recommend using the Godsplitter. Its damage is just so low that it's often just outstripped by any other sword, weapon, whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the sluice and see how it goes. Alright, we've got 2 charges on our Witchfire, so we can definitely use it to put down some area denial, like over there. If they come out that way, start burning them down, and look how it just chunks them down immediately as they try and come and get us, including the bloat thing. We're going to activate this so we can actually see where the enemies are coming from. Drop it over there, and 1 shot there, 2 shot to get him. Move forward, slice him 1. It's already charged up again, so we'll spit out another over there since they all seem to be coming from that way. And then we swap to this gun to just pick them off from a distance while they walk into the fire. Not a problem at all for us. Look how it goes. We swap back over. It's already charged back up, so you just drop another fire thing out, and let's just watch them die. Just watch them die. It's fantastic. Yep. And look, it's already charged up. It's already got 1 more charge thanks to the extra elemental build-up, as well as that other ring that we're using. Like I say that this build is focused around doing these 3 things, but really just the extra mod damage here plus some of this can really make a singular elemental mod shine. I just like the emphasis of these 3 in combination with those 2. It feels really fun. Through the gate we go. Alright, now something you can kind of do. My skill's not on off cooldown right now, but what you could totally do is your oh my gosh, I missed. Oh my gosh. I will say that about its effect. Sometimes it's a little jank on where it's going to actually hit. That charge attack hit both of them, and then we hit them with this. Yeah, so sometimes it's a little jank on where its little flying sword effects go and hit. So that's something to be mindful of. But what you can try and do is your hunter skill actually, keeps refreshing itself by doing weak point damage. So you can try and activate your skill, then use your swords, hit them once, shoot them with a gun so you get that weak spot damage. That'll add in another 3 seconds on the ability, so you can actually trigger that effect. Otherwise, you're not really getting a good effect. So what you could opt to do instead of running the hunter as your primary, you could swap over the explorer, get more stuff, or do whatever archetype you're running. Alright, we're at the next sluice gate, so we're going to get more waves of guys. It's a bit wider. There should be some elites in this one. So we'll activate this now. Go ahead and swap it over and drop 1 right here around the corner as they have to walk through to try and get us. And it's just going to burn them up. Just same situation, right? We're going to go more around the side, though. This time, drop it over there. Now, one thing with that stupid Witchfire thing, you saw it right there. Sometimes a little bomb can, like, hit things and roll and go somewhere else. And then that sends it in a direction that you don't want it to be. We're going to make some more distance. Activate this for some speed. Oh, God, that hit us. Okay, we're going to move back. Rolling over. Activate this now. And we're going to hit him with a full charge. Now, watch how much damage we do here. Down. Just like that. No problem. That first hit was really where it was at, right? We got the critical hit on top of those weak spot shots. And that thing's damage baseline is just so high. So you can really chunk down single targets when you get them set up just right. Go ahead and eat a relic right here. Looks like the waves are pretty much done, and we can move on. And look at that. Our mods are already charged, and they're ready to go. That's what's amazing about this setup, is you can just always have them ready, dealing lots of damage. It's nice. It's just nice. There we go. Did I need to do that? No. I don't think the fire works in the water, does it? It does. What? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess it could be like super hot, and so of course it works, but watching the dude on the left because we hear her. Oh, there they are. Boom. Anybody else? Dude hanging. Easy enough. Check the map. Yeah, we're definitely going the right way. Alright, last Susuke. So this one can get pretty gnarly because a bunch of elites are going to start showing up, but ideally, with enough of our zone control, we should be fine. So we're going to actually jump to that side. Get ready, activate that, and oh, shoot, here they come right away. Dodging that to the side. We're going to get ready to hit him with those, and then charge attack to stagger him and try and kill him real fast so we don't have to deal with... Oh! Get rid of him. Move to the side. Shot. We need to activate our relic now. Dodging that, actually. Dodging that. We're going to run. Oh, hopefully don't hit me. Oh! Dodging. Alright, we're going to have to use some of our explorer stuff to keep ourselves some distance, and then what we're going to do is lob that way up there, blow them up. Okay, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Oh, this is turning into a mess. All right, now we're good. Okay, using that to block some projectiles so we can heal while they burn up a little bit, and then we get in some shots. Here comes another elite dude. This is ready now. Activate it. Full charge attack. Slice. 1, 2. Keeping an eye out for a projectile from the top. She just jumped down, so we're good. There's one more elite. Let's try and take these guys down. We're going to have to move. Sprinting away as fast as possible anyways. Activate this now and ready. Slice through a whole bunch of them. Switch to shotgun. Bang, bang. Go ahead and sprint and keep some distance from him. Drop a fire, and burn him from distance away. Oh, I swear if that had got me, I'd have been really upset. Ooh, but we did it there. I got a little messy there, but thanks to the maneuverability and some of our area mod stuff, we could get out of it. All right, that was it for that. I promised to show you guys a boss fight, so I'm gonna get myself somewhere with a boss fight. Guess I probably could have just found that place with a boss and then done that, but that's okay. This was fun to show you guys like how you can really lock down areas. Now, before we actually get to the boss, we're in the Shattered Galleries. I wanted to show you guys the Firestorm mod. I switched to it here because there's a lot of like Fae that are flying around, so naturally ground effects aren't nearly as effective. So this Firestorm one is pretty solid. We're going to use it on the boss fight too, but I wanted to show you what it does leading up to the whole scenario. Ooh, actually what we got here is an elite. So I'll show you, like, see this scenario right here is like the perfect scenario. We're going to be able to hit him with our Deceits mod so that we're doing those weak spot hits. We're going to pop our skill so we got a higher crit chance, range damage and stuff. And it's going to do a lot of damage, man. It's very satisfying. Activate this full charge attack in. Boom. And then go. Pew. 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 And he's gone. And then that one. Oh, he moved it. And you can see that chunk of damage. That's from our mod ability. We're actually going to throw out the Firestorm right there. And then that's going to suck them up. He didn't catch him for some reason. But the damage was so much anyways, like, it didn't even matter. And we'll just pick him off like that. No problem. Oh, there's our next elite. We're going to activate this again. Throw it out. Dodge to the side to avoid the fire. And 1, 2, 3. And he's dead. It's solid, man. It's solid. Yeah. Maybe there's some other, like, I'm sure there's some other, like, super optimized, like, 1,000 DPS a second million number or something, right? But for what it is and what I'm doing, like, it's super satisfying, right? It's just seeing the big red numbers, you know? And I don't even have to aim. That's the beauty of it. It's like there's some enemies, it's really a pain to hit the weak spots. It's just obnoxious. And so just being able to hit them with that and then every shot turns into a weak spot shot, it's nice. It's just nice. All right, let's see how well we do against this guy. Now, I already have 5 stacks of my vulture thing at the bottom there, but normally if I don't have any going into a boss fight, I'm going to go ahead and pop 1 relic use to go ahead and get full stacks, and then we start the process. So what we're going to try and do, we're going to start off immediately with a Firestorm, starting up some burning. It can sometimes also keep the guy in place because of it pulling them around. And then we're going to swap over to our long gun, hit it with a mod effect, and then get a bunch of weak spot shots. See if we can't kill it quickly. Here we go. Because literally, kill it with fire. Switch over to here. Mod activates. Big charge attack, and shoot. It's thick skin and hardy, so that actually makes it really hard to kill because that thick skin increases its armor. Hardy increasing its freaking defense, so it's literally about as difficult as this thing could be to kill, which is freaking obnoxious, man. And charge it back in. Start shooting. Now watch these charge attacks. See how they're charging up our freaking mod up again? Like, by the time the effect wears off, it's ready to go. So we'll activate it again. Throw it back out. Thank you. You know, just as long as the controls are going to actually freaking work. If I could shoot, holy cow. The game doesn't want my controls to work. And then I got hit in the head. That was really annoying. Let's try that again. Alright, in there, activate this Firestorm. Switch to this, activate the mod, dodge the attack, and then throw those out there and start auto-attacking. Just shooting with our gun, getting our stuff charged up. There we go. Let's go ahead and reload real quick before we actually unload our mods and stuff again. We're going to dodge his projectiles while also get rid of some adds. Just like this, maybe. We need to keep some distance because he's going to swing. There's another Firestorm. Keep our own distance so we don't burn ourselves alive. Hit him with a full charge, and then dodge the acid, move to the side, and start unloading just like this. And we could totally be using our hunter skill, so we got a better crit chance. Activate it again, throw it out there, do our eyes now, and then start shooting him. That should kill the extra adds right there, so we can just keep chunking it down, dodging projectiles, watching the bodies, because we don't want to get caught by them. I will say, too, that Firestorm actually catches them sometimes. So you can almost like completely nullify that aspect of the fight just by having a Firestorm out there. But we're going to activate our Explorer ability now, give us some more like movement speed as well as avoiding stamina costs. That's going to... Oh, I rolled through a bad thing. That's okay. Keep some distance, switch a shotgun, blast him twice to get rid of him. Our sword ability is ready. Go ahead and throw it back out there. When you dodge that, I got caught in the animation. I died. Obviously. Good. Ugh, choking. There we go. Watch out for that one hit thing. You can see him like running, but look how that tornado like kept him in place. Whoa. Throw out another one right there. Maybe that'll suck in those guys. Dodge his attacks. All right, now we're ready. We're gonna reload as much as we can real quick. Get ready to dodge his acid spit. Activate the Explorer ability. There was our swords. Throw that out there and start shooting. Notice this is the same hunter skill I used like right at the beginning of the freaking fight. So it has been running this entire time because we've been getting our weak point hits constantly. So we've been able to keep it up and going with no issues whatsoever. We're trying to keep our distance. We got to play it safe because a single hit from one of those will kill us, and we don't want that to happen, do we? Activate it now, and then throw it out there. Watch out for some more dudes. Watching out for tail whips. Charge, hit the sound. Okay, keep getting them here. Move over to the side. Our skill went off. Or it started cooldown. It's off its thing now, but that's okay. Create some more distance. We're gonna drop him. Come on, there we go. There we are. Fire tornado is ready. We're gonna drop it right there on top of him. Activate this, and this should be it. Dodge to the side, and start bringing him down. A couple more hits. One more. There it is. Not a bad fight. Not a bad fight. Even with the thick skin and hardy effects on that dude, like, we were still able to bring him down. Like, we were doing a good amount of damage, and that's what's so nice about this setup too, right? The mod power is going to really allow you to keep spitting out the blade effect for this gun, so you can keep getting constant weak spot hits that are like good amount of damage too, and then that damage from the weak spot hits is going to keep triggering your hunter's mark so that it's like constantly running the entire time that you're in the boss fight, as long as you can keep doing the damage while the fight's going on. It's easier to do when you have like a team. If you're in a multiplayer setting, it's a lot easier because that aggro is on somebody else and you can always like pump out some more DPS. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. That's the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys watching it. I find it's a lot of fun. Not the most durable, which always throws me off, but you know, the unique interactions between the weapons, the mod powers and stuff, and the rings and amulets, it's just kind of a blast. And there's some nice wiggle room, I feel, to like kind of swap and do some different things depending on the actual specific style that you want to go for. Other than that, I'm going to keep putting out some more videos about different builds. I will eventually get into Apocalypse. It's just right now, this is just where I'm comfortable and where I'm like having fun. Yeah, I could do Apocalypse, but at that point, your build variety, I feel, narrows down a lot more. Like, you have to use like absolute top line stuff in order to be effective and make it through there. Yeah, but other than that, some other types of builds you can expect coming out here in the future I got ideas like, summoner tank, summoner support. There's like some other run and gunner kind of builds, shielding builds. I want to do a light armor and perfect dodge type of build, corrosion, explosives. Like, I've got all these ideas. I'm going to keep trying to put out some videos for each of them as I try them out. That way you guys can see kind of like what it's doing. Maybe you've done it and you're like, hey man, that's what I do. Or it's like gives you some ideas on things you can do or kind of work towards. But until then, take care everybody.